This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Adam the Jock Straczynski. On today's show, this WWE star may be a free agent, maybe not. And this one is for sure sticking around. John Cena's final opponent of his career may be set, and these former WWE champs are WWE champs yet again. And this AEW star was stretchered out of Collision. This is your Crown Jewel Perth Go Home show, so we'll have our selections for the winners of that, as well as taking a look at what's going on with AEW. Jock has some concerns and some problems, and he needs Doc to maybe calm him down or maybe set him straight. We're going to discuss all of that later on in the show, helping me break it all down, sort it all out, keeping me calm when it comes to AEW, possibly. He's the one. He is the only. He is the Doc, John Macaroon. What's up, cuz?
8 a.m. for a PLE. My goodness. That's crazy. I'm excited. Look, it might be one of those deals where it could go 3 hours and your wrestling day is over, but it's a fun time, man. NXT.
Look, you get to wake up, have coffee and wrestling. Coffee and wrestling, maybe some donuts. You send the wife out and the kids out for donuts, Friday, and then you get to watch it.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for what's going on with WWE. I thought that Raw, SmackDown was really intriguing, and there's some great stuff going on, and I thought that NXT even is doing some great stuff. So, hey, look, it's a great time for fall wrestling, and we'll get a chance to evaluate wrestling at 8 a.m. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah, most definitely. I know you took an NXT this week, and you were very hyped about it. So I do want to get your thoughts on NXT, something we don't normally do a lot of, but you said you watched a couple of matches. Actually, I think you watched the entire show, and you were messaging me about some of the most incredible matches you've seen. So what were your overall thoughts on NXT this week?
Yeah, I thought that NXT and TNA were unbelievable. You know, you realize that there's opportunities for, people are really debating what's been happening with the TNA relationship. I think that guys like Santana are getting exposed well. I feel like there are great matches. The Hardys getting back, getting opportunities against Dark State. The TNA women's match was interesting. It just, really Kalani Jordan has taken a step forward in her career. But the match of the night was Mustafa Ali and Ethan Page, bro. It was unreal. You just realize, and we talked about it and joked about it for years, that WWE dropped the ball with Mustafa Ali. I still got, if you're checking out my Zoom, I still got the mask that he wore, and the gimmicks that they tried with him were so terrible that you just it's just great to see that, even though Ali, did not go over, Ethan Page was the winner. I thought it was great. Cardona had a hilarious segment. It was great. I just thought everything was great. And Mike Santana, oh my goodness. They gave Santana the win over the NXT champion, Ricky Saints. That was a great match too. So it's one of those deals where when you have a developmental program, you have opportunities for guys to get over, and you get some of these dream matches that we only get to think about, and it was amazing. It was just really a great show. And also, too, just if you're nostalgic, Santino Marella is doing the gimmicks that he used to do. It really started like a full circle moment, because last year I went to Bound for Glory, had a good time to see Santino, the authoritarian, the king of authority. It's really funny to see it full circle now, and the fan base really respecting it. So NXT has done a good job. Now, you could say that the TNA is taking the worst end of it, obviously with the disrespect that Joe Henry got at WrestleMania. But look, big picture-wise, TNA is benefiting. They're going to get a TV deal, a streaming deal, because of the fact that they're working with WWE. Look long-term. Don't look at the short-term situation as it is. TNA has really put themselves in a position to be number 3, solidified.
Here's the thing, though. I agree with you 100% with what you're saying. I think because of the partnership with WWE, it does benefit them long-term. It's going to benefit them to get their TV deal. But as far as the booking goes, what you see week in, week out, they really do take it on the ass. WWE does not do a good job of highlighting their they're programming and they're superstars well enough. I feel like the booking, I don't necessarily want 50-50 booking, but I do want to see them get over a little bit more in these matches. Yes, I think it's fantastic that they get highlighted on WWE programming, which we both know is some of the largest programming that you can get for wrestling. On top of it, there's a lot of different media clips that get sent out. So these wrestlers are getting exposed. And like we said, big picture, yes, this is a huge benefit. I just wish, as far as the booking went, it was a little bit more even. I don't feel like they get put in the best light as far as wins and losses go with the matches. And that's probably my biggest gripe with the partnership with TNA. But all that being said, stick around. We're going to have a little bit of an update on some champs who may or may not work for TNA currently. So you want to hear about that a little bit later on in the show. I do want to give some quick notes from Raw. I thought the Becky Lynch Maxine Dupree match was an absolute banger. I think Maxine Dupree has come an incredibly long way from where she first started. When she first got called up to the main roster, she was essentially eye candy. She was there to kind of be that Mandy Rose-esque eyepiece, trophy piece for Otis. And she's really developed into a pretty good wrestler. Like, I'm not going to say she's great. I'm not going to put her on the likes of, say, Becky Lynch, but Becky Lynch gave her a lot in this match, and she did not let Becky Lynch down. I thought they put on a hell of a match. I wanted to get your thoughts really quickly on the development of Maxine Dupree and how well she looked on Monday night taking on Becky Lynch.
Yeah, look, you've seen the work on social media. She's done work with Natalya. Give her credit. She's gone to the dungeon, and that's something that you wouldn't expect from this performer, but she's done the work. And I think she got the taste and got the bug. And what you like to see is somebody that's, hungry, and when they've given an opportunity, really take it seriously. Like, clearly everyone knows. And what's also happened too, we've talked about it too, she had some real stinkers. And when you get stinkers, then everybody starts messaging you online. The clowns will be like, oh, you're just a pretty face. Oh, you're just one of those kind of people. And I really do think that when you are exposed to something like that, then you are really wanting to prove a lot of people wrong. And when you have a leader like Natalya in that locker room, that they say, hey, look, yes, you're going to get opportunities because you're great looking, but if you do the work, now you're the total package. And it's great to see. She deserves it.
Yeah, I agree. She does deserve it. She's put in a lot of really, really good work. I think the other big thing coming out of Monday Night Raw is this bloodline storyline that we've got going on with Roman Reigns, Jimmy, and Jey Uso. And you can now see they're laying the groundwork for some conflict between Jimmy and Roman and some uneasiness between Jimmy and Jey. And I think it's fantastic. I think this, again, this is the storyline. And you got to go back. This storyline, I think, has been going on for 3, maybe 4 years now. It's a storyline that keeps on going. They did such a good job developing out Roman's character, developing out both of the Usos' characters. They've all kind of gone on, been able to have their singles careers here. They've come back, and the Usos have come back together as a tag team, and then you're kind of seeing the rub there between the two of them, and then you're looking at Roman, and he's still able to hold down that spotlight and be that guy. And I find this interaction with them, and I find this storyline with these guys to be absolutely fascinating, because I'm like, where is this going to go? What's going to happen here? You've got Jey, who's taking on more of this Roman-esque personality. Roman's in his ear. He's basically pumping him up every week and gassing him up every week. And then you've got Jimmy, who's sitting there like, what is going on here? Like, who are you? You're not the same guy that I used to tag with. And now you've got Roman looking at Jimmy being like, hey, I see, I hear, I know everything. Why can't he take advice from me? Why wouldn't he take advice from me? Basically saying, I've been there. I've done it. I'm better than you. I know what's best for him. And you've got Jimmy kind of like off kilter, kind of uneasy, just kind of looking at Roman like, what the hell? What has happened? Are we going back to that whole tribal chief thing where we all have to sit there, bow down, and kiss your ring? And it kind of feels like that's the direction we're headed back in. I wanted to get your thoughts on what you think of this storyline, because I think, again, so much intricacies were laid down early on in this story that now you can come back years later and kind of draw different things out of it and build new storylines out of it. And I think this is really, really good booking by WWE. I think WWE and some of the stuff Triple H has done has been incredibly questionable, especially as of late. I think this is one of those things where Paul Heyman got it right and Paul Heyman protected it. And because he did that, it's now bearing more fruit, where we thought this would just kind of be maybe a year long, maybe a 2-year long thing. I'd have to go back and I'd have to double check, but I believe we're in like year 3 or 4 of this now. And it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's great because you get that intrigue about Jimmy, Jay. You get to kind of see now the dynamic kind of flush out with Roman Reigns as the leader. Who's he going to pick? And also too, the fact that there's just been this undertone of leadership, like who's going to be next? Who's going to be tapped to take over and be somebody that can be worthy of being a leader? For Samoans, the tribal chief is important. The opportunity to be familial and to learn and to work for a common cause has been broken and shattered because of things that have happened and others that have stepped in wanting that control. So it's just been so fascinating to watch because everyone's wondering, and I guess I'll get your sense of it, because is it time? The problem inherently is that Jey Uso's a money machine. He is a printing money machine. It's a 6-minute intro, and you get free. I mean, it's like, okay, you erase 5% of the work you got to do every couple of weeks, where you're like, okay, Jey Uso's entrance, let's make it 8 minutes, and now we only got 1 hour and 58 minutes left to program, and let's go. The problem is because I think the best idea might be to turn Jey Uso heel. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think so. And I think it's coming. I think that is kind of what this is, the slow build to. And I'm assuming he's going to turn on Jimmy, and it's going to create that chasm. And I kind of feel like it's going to be Roman and Jay kind of rolling off into whatever that sunset looks like. And Jimmy's going to kind of be left behind. And here's the thing with this storyline that they laid down. Think about this. This is something we didn't touch on. Think of all the spin-off characters and all the spin-off storylines, right? So you introduce Solo, then you've got Solo and you've got his family tree, which has basically introduced all of the Tongans and JC Mateo, and there's somebody else that they're teasing is coming along the way. And then you've got Jacob Fatu as well, who I really feel like WWE has dropped the ball with Jacob Fatu. This was a guy who was white hot, and for whatever reason, he's kind of cooled a little bit. And I think he's an electric superstar. So you'll be able to get that heat back. But I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know why they're doing it. But he's just not as top of mind anymore. So I think, yes, you are right. You turn Jay heel. I think it's going to be electric. Like you said, he is a money producing machine right now. The thing is, everybody wants to eat with this guy, and he's kind of showing that he's not a straight baby face anymore, and still everybody is eating. For your heel, I mean, if you want him to be a fan favorite heel, I guess for sure. I think WWE needs to figure out what they want to do as far as that heel reaction, and if they're going to be okay with the fans still cheering him, because he is so over. Like, my daughter yeets. She's not even 1.5, and she runs around, she throws the hands up, and she says yeet. So it's a thing. WWE's got to kind of figure out how they want to balance that, and I think that's where the real push kind of comes in. So we'll see what takes place. But all of that being said, this sets up for Crown Jewel at Perth, or in Perth, streaming on ESPN's streaming platform starting at 8 a.m. Like we said early on, you get coffee, you get donuts, maybe a bagel, and you get wrestling. I told John to send the wife out with the kids, go get donuts, go get coffee, go get bagels. You'll be sitting on the couch. They'll come back and they'll feed you, and you'll be ecstatic. We talked about Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns opened up Monday Night Raw, was interrupted by Bronson Reed. We are going to have a singles match. We have an Australian street fight between Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. Who gets the W here? Remember, this is building off of what took place, I think it was 2 pay-per-views ago, where Roman got the win, and then Braun Breaker left Roman broken on top of a table, ringside. Shoes were stolen again by Bronson Reed. He hit a couple of tsunamis. Who gets the dubski here?
Doesn't, man. Roman Reigns ain't traveling all that way to lose. You kidding me? It's going to be great. Pops. Hopefully start the show with this, and Roman Reigns gets the victory. It's going to be great to see. Listen, with his schedule and how great it is, with how infrequent he shows up in that ring, it's always great to see his entrance, the way the crowd. I can't wait. I'm really, really excited. It's early, but I think the crowd is going to amp everybody up. So I'm excited to see Roman Reigns and the team get the W.
I think this is going to be a fantastic match. Remember, it's an Australian street fight. That means there are no rules. That means there can be interference. Bronson Reed, he is from Australia. Hometown boy. He gets the dubski. I picked him to win last time. I was wrong. Roman got the win. I think you come back here. Bronson gets the win here. They're knotted up at 1 apiece. I think Braun Breaker plays a role in this match. I could see maybe Becky Lynch. I could see maybe some other outside interference playing a role in this match. Bronson Reed gets the W, and we continue along with this storyline, possibly setting up, again, remember, War Games is kind of around the corner. This could set up for War Games, where you just kind of keep these guys feuding together. You'll have Jimmy and Jay possibly be involved as well, depending on what goes on there. Remember, Jacob Fatu's kind of on the outskirts. He could be brought in. We'll see what happens. There's a lot you could do here, but I think Bronson Reed's got to get the victory to continue that storyline. All right, next we've got John Cena versus AJ Styles. This is one of those matches that people clamored for 5, 10, 12 years ago. These are two of the best superstars that we've had in our generation, I would say. Like, John Cena obviously was the guy who ushered in a whole new era of WWE wrestling. AJ Styles was, if you were a fan of early TNA, he was the glue that made you stick around to watch TNA wrestling. Then goes to New Japan, gets an even higher profile, then goes to WWE, and it was amazing when he went to WWE. Both these guys winding down their careers. I think AJ Styles gets the win here. I just kind of feel like John Cena's at that point where he's going to he's on his way out. He's putting everybody over. I think John Cena lays down for AJ Styles and kind of gives AJ Styles a big victory here. What are your thoughts?
Man, it's the right thing to do. I can't wait to see this match. I wonder what kind of nods does John Cena give? Is he going to do what kind of crazy stuff is going to happen in this match? The crowd.
Does he hit a Styles clash on AJ Styles?
Right?
I think that would be fantastic.
Clash? Oh my goodness! Oh, dude,
a phenomenal forearm.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Can you see John? I could see him botching and falling on his face.
Oh yeah,
that could be a problem.
For sure.
Listen, let's everybody be safe in this. But you're absolutely right. AJ Styles gets the win, and I think it's gonna be a classic with the involvement of the fans.
Yeah, I agree with you 110%. Our next match, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, taking on the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. This is a tag team match. Io Sky, Rhea Ripley looking for retribution against Asuka. Kairi Sane this week laid out Io Sky. So a lot of bad blood, a lot of heat in this. Who do you think gets the win? Does Rhea Ripley and Io, or do the Kabuki Warriors?
The heels, right? No, well, look, if I'm wrong about, the pops, it might end up having to be one or the other. You know what I mean? If Rhea wins, then maybe you get the other side there too, because you figure one person's going to get it. But let's just keep going with the nice pops. Pop for AJ. It's the Australian pop. Pop for Roman Reigns, and again, pop for Rhea Ripley's team.
Yeah, I got Rhea Ripley winning this. Like, again, somebody else from Australia. I think she gets the dubski here. Just doing service for fans is kind of what this pay-per-view is all about.
Right.
I can see her getting the victory here, and I can see her getting the win. All right, let's move into one of our final two matches. This is the singles match for the WWE Women's Crown Jewel Championship. This is a championship that is a lot of gold, a lot of glitter, a lot of diamonds, cubic zirconium. I don't really know, but it's a 65-pound championship belt that gets brought out once a year. It's completely ridiculous. Does Stephanie Vacour, your new Raw Women's Champion, does she beat Tiffy Time and Tiffany Stratton, your SmackDown WWE Women's Champion? If you ask me, I could see there being a little bit of Jade Cargill interference, possibly. I could see maybe Nia Jax playing a role in this match. I don't want that to happen. I want these two women to go out there and just absolutely perform and tear the house down. That being said, Tiffany Stratton has not lost at all this year. Stephanie Vacour, I don't really think has even defended her title once yet because she's brand new. I think you try to give Stephanie Vacour a huge boost early on in her title reign, laying the first loss on Tiffany Stratton. It doesn't really hurt Tiffany Stratton. This doesn't do anything. She's not losing her title, but it shows that she can be defeated. So you can set that up for some other time down the road when she is going to lose her title. But it also helps make Stephanie look bigger and stronger and badder right now. I think Stephanie Vacour walks out with that ridiculous title.
Yeah, exactly. To your point, that's what I said, is that on paper, you would think that Tiffany Stratton is the real deal, but she's got more feuds to attend to and some matters that could potentially pop up and cost her this match. So I think that Stephanie Vacour wins, and it's probably right to make her continuously a bigger star, and it feels like she's got the rocket ship. Feels like we're going to see a scene in the Netflix show where they're like, Stephanie, we like you, and you got to carry the ball. Go do this match well. So I think she wins it.
All right, that leads us to our final match, possibly our main event. This is the singles match for the men's ridiculous championship, the 75-pound WWE Crown Jewel Championship. Cody Rhodes, your SmackDown undisputed WWE champion, versus Seth Rollins, your Raw World's Heavyweight Champion. This is interesting. I believe it was on Monday night. You had Seth Rollins talking to Paul Heyman, and he essentially asked, what happens if I lose this match to Cody Rhodes? And Paul Heyman tried to gas him up a little bit, and then he said, Paul, quit playing with my emotions. Quit toying with me. Tell me what really happens. And Paul laid it out for him. Said, look, if you don't win this match, you will lose the trust and the loyalty of Braun Breaker. You will lose Bronson Reed's loyalty to you as well. They will start looking elsewhere, and they will no longer have trust in you as the visionary. You will no longer be that guy. And I will question whether or not I should ever have turned my back on Roman Reigns and sided with you. So some really grave and heavy emphasis on this match and what the result could mean for Seth Rollins. I think because of that, he's going to get the win. I can't see you messing up this mix yet. Again, it's a Paul Heyman storyline. Paul Heyman is involved in this. I think he's looking for a little bit more tread on this. So I think Seth Rollins gets the win. I could see Braun Breaker maybe interfering a little bit, costing Cody Rhodes. I could see something happen. Maybe you get Drew McIntyre interfering. I'm not sure. Maybe Randy Orton. I don't know. I see something weird happening in this match, but Seth Rollins gets the win. Seth Rollins continues to kind of roll along as the leader of the Vision.
Exactly. And it makes sense, but like, how boring would it be for Seth Rollins to keep losing? Like, you got to kind of swing the favor for the continuation of the feud moving forward if Cody keeps winning, and he won it last year. So you got to have some struggle for Cody to overcome. And whatever that may be, I'm excited to see it. These guys are going to have great chemistry. Yeah, you absolutely have to have Seth Rollins win it. Come on now. Like, Cody's gotten the better end of it. He knows that it's not going to cost him anything in regards to this. This is a ceremonial, situation that they've
kind of a non-event pay-per-view.
Exactly. It's a one-night only thing. And so for one night only, let us enjoy Seth getting the title. And it looks cool. It'll look cool when he's up there and celebrating with Paul Heyman.
All right, we take a quick look at calling the card. I've got a 2-point lead on you, Doc. 8.5, 6.5. We'll see what happens. We'll look at kind of our predictions here. We've got one difference. It's the Roman Reigns Bronson Reed match. You've got Roman Reigns. I've got Bronson Reed. We'll see what takes place. We'll see if I can extend my lead or you can cut it in half. Let's switch gears to AEW real quick. So we got to see Katana Chance, now known as Lacey Lane, take on Mercedes Moné in a wrestling match. Katana Chance, now Lacey Lane, has wrestled for ROH a couple of times. She got a lot of run. Mercedes Moné gave her a lot in this match. The crowd gave her absolutely nothing. I was really surprised. I wanted to know if you noticed that. The crowd seemed almost dead when she was announced. And then when she was in the ring, I thought it was a good match. I'm not a huge fan of Mercedes Moné right now. I did not think Mercedes Moné was going to lose this match. I thought this was a match where Katana could have really showed herself, or Lacey, however you want to refer to her as. But I don't feel like the crowd gravitated to her at all. And I feel like in WWE, NXT more specifically, they were very much into her. On the main roster, they were kind of into her. In AEW, not into her. And I thought that was a little bit odd. And again, Mercedes Moné, I did not think Mercedes Moné was losing this belt. This is something I didn't realize. Mercedes Moné has almost eclipsed the Jade Cargill length of holding that title. I don't think Mercedes Moné is dropping that title until she eclipses and erases Jade Cargill's name from the history books. I believe the date counter is like 563 for Jade Cargill. So she's not dropping that title until day 564 or whatever it may be. So I don't see Mercedes Moné losing that belt anytime soon. Were you surprised at how flat the crowd was for Lacey Lane?
I was. Look, this residency that AEW has been trying to do. Look, you got to do character development. Like, you assume that the AEW fan just knows who this is. They don't. You got to do elite storytelling. And it can't be just one time. It's an ADHD society. You got to build someone. And great. Like, and the clear thing is that I think that the AEW fan is a totally different kind of wrestling fan that just kind of likes AEW and maybe not as hardcore, where they're like, oh, like, do you really think the average hardcore AEW fan knows what NXT is doing and knows that Santana's getting a push? They may know, but they're not going to know or really care when he shows up there. So, look, I think that AEW has to do a better job of, hey, we just not bringing people over just to bring them over. You still, yeah, great. It's a line in a paragraph where you say, hey, she was here and she did this. It doesn't mean anything. People care about what you've done. And unfortunately, in the way AEW does things, they really care about what kind of freaky high spot can you do to get me to pop. And It's crazy that that's what they got to do, but that's where they're at right now with their company.
Which is part of the problem that we'll get to here in a moment. I do want to talk a little bit about some interesting booking for Kyle Fletcher. This guy goes from main eventing a pay-per-view with the champ, Hangman Adam Page, to then doing a pay-per-view to defend the TNT Championship with Mark Briscoe. Now, I thought his match on Dynamite was very good. You got to see some of what makes Kyle Fletcher Kyle Fletcher. But again, to me, you go from being at the very, very top to now dropping down multiple pegs. Like, I feel like this is a guy who you're counting on being a huge main event player. I understand he has your mid-tier championship. I get it. I understand that he has to defend that. I get that as well. I just feel like he should be in something a little bit more interesting than this feud with Mark Briscoe. I wanted to get your thoughts on the booking of Kyle Fletcher, because again, really good match on Dynamite. And this is a guy who was main eventing a pay-per-view for you like 2 weeks ago to now being here, and he's probably going to be the third or fourth match before the main event on this upcoming pay-per-view card. And to me, that's head scratching.
Yeah, that's not booking. I mean, we're not calling it booking. It's matchmaking. And that's the best way I'm going to describe it.
That is what that is. That's a good call. That's what that is.
It's not booking. It's matchmaking. And 1 week, you're at the top of the mountain in the matchmaker's book. And then the next week, you're at this. So, look, you and I are in the opinion that Kyle Fletcher should be upper mid-card, should have some meaningful type stuff. But this is why the characters don't draw. They don't do anything because you're matchmaking. And it's like, okay, well, who's Kyle Fletcher going to face this week? It could be as high as Okada, and it could be as low as Lee Moriarty. I mean, it's like, come on, dude. I get it, but we have to accept it. It's jarring. But in the end, the best way to summarize it is, you and I both probably believe, and a lot of the viewing audience and listening audience really would believe, that he deserves a lot better matchmaking opportunities to really test him on a week-to-week basis. The AEW roster is stacked. You got to give him better, and he doesn't have to wrestle. He can do stuff behind the scenes, vignettes. He can do a lot more, and I think you're exactly right. You don't matchmake where it's like, this week, Seth Rollins is going to face Cody Rhodes, and tonight, it's The Miz. It's like, come on, dude. Seth Rollins is in the Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes. Main event guys, the problem is that AEW really, in the end, for a lot of people, don't have too many stars that align, that people would say, oh, this is going to be something where he needs to take a loss or handle it and stuff like that. So it's unfortunate when you match make and you go down to that level, it's just not worthy, I think, of where Kyle Fletcher. Basically, it's like when Jey Uso got the rocket ship strapped to him, did he go up against Jabrones? No. He was right up there winning the Royal Rumble, getting main event matches. He was up against Gunther. So it would have been like, listen, Jay, on your way to the top, you're going to fight Austin Theory. And then the next week, you're going to fight Grayson Waller. And then you're going to fight Cody Rhodes. And then you're going to fight Roman Reigns. And then you're going to fight The Miz. It's like, come on, dude. I get it. I get that you got to put stuff together for shows. But we need an upward trajectory here. And it didn't happen.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It is matchmaking and not booking. It almost feels like there's no long-term thought process when it comes to these things. And I think a prime example of this is kind of what happened in the main event, right? So Pac and Orange Cassidy have match 978, right? I almost feel like Pac and Orange Cassidy are kind of like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at this point, where you just have a counter just kind of rolling over because they fight so much. I think the big thing I took out of that main event is Pac looks like he's absolutely chiseled out of granite. The guy looks absolutely amazing. But what takes place at the end, you have Darby Allin come out. And like, I just don't understand a lot of this. You have Darby Allin come out and he's looking very threatening, very menacing. You have Pac basically run to the back only to have the rest of what's the name of the group? The Death Riders come out and they're now basically all faced up, right? It's like three of them and it's Darby Allin. Darby Allin is waving around a Molotov cocktail, which makes no sense to me. Why would you have that? Like, that doesn't make any, like, you had a flamethrower a week ago. You've got a Molotov cocktail this week, and you're threatening to set it on fire. Like, if we had a stipulation for a match where it was a burn your opponent alive match, I would get it. But this doesn't make any sense for me. For you to be walking around a stands with that doesn't make any sense for me. Right. A baseball bat, I get it. A chair, I get it. Something wrapped with barbed wire, I get it. The use of fire, I do not understand. And then, on top of all of that, you have this massive security guard come from nowhere and just tackles Darby Allin and manhandled him. And I'm like, this is a guy who's supposed to be a superstar for your wrestling organization. And this dude who is like 3 times his size just annihilated him. And I'm like, that just made your superstar look weak.
Yes.
On top of that, it just does not give the believability that Darby Allin is this guy that you're trying to build around and make look like he is formidable. Like, when the security guard physically looks more imposing and looks more dangerous, and the hit that he laid on Darby Allin looked like the realest thing you've seen on the show, that's a bit of a problem for me. It leaves me scratching my head saying, what the F? What the F are we doing here? I didn't understand any of what took place at the end of Dynamite. Can you help me out? Am I wrong here for feeling this way? There have been multiple times over the last couple of weeks watching Dynamite where out loud I have said this, or I've said this to my wife, where I'm like, sometimes wrestling is just dumb. Sometimes it is just stupid. And that's the sentence. That's what I say. I said that yet again this week watching Dynamite. Frustrating to me.
Yeah, no doubt. It's the thing that, first of all, it took like a month to figure out why, how Luchasaurus and his guy got back together. It took them like weeks to figure stuff out. So now you have this situation, and like you've just said, you have Darby Allin and you have others looking weak, and it's just, in the end, what's wrong is the things that should be explained get explained way too late. People that should be strong end up looking weak. Things that don't make sense end up happening. And it literally is the brainchild of somebody that is it seems like throwing things framework wise against the wall week to week. Like he has an idea of, okay, I want to see Kyle. Like basically you can kind of almost envision how this is going, where he has the framework of what he wants week to week, but the details get filled in at the very end. What do we want to do to make this match special? Oh, let's have this and let's have that and let's do this and let's have, like, it's because too, and people have talked about it on podcasts, this dude, Tony Khan, loved ECW. Like, this man sat in that building. So this is like him getting his jollies off and going, man, this is like what I got to do as a kid. And he's getting all the gimmick. Like, you can see he's probably sitting there going, I remember when Bully used to do this, and you remember when New Jack did this, and oh my God, let's do it. And you're like, dude, like, yeah, it was great 25 years ago. But we're in the CTE era. Like, we want to protect these dudes. Like, we don't want these. Like, I don't need Molotov cocktails.
Dude, on top of that, wrestling has evolved. Like, it's just different. It's different. That was mind blowing back then. It's different now, man.
Right. You know, and then you've trained the audience now to expect more. Like, we got this guy's fork and he rammed it all over his face for 5 seconds, in his ear, in his neck, it's like, I don't need ECW. I don't need it. I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't care if John Moxley says, bro, thank you for letting me do this. I don't need you to be the hardcore legend, bro. Listen, Terry Funk died, and that should have died with him. Mick Foley, unfortunately, he can't walk. You know what I mean? He's hobbling, and he's had all these, like, yeah, he did it, but that was a different thing for different people. You now have a way to avoid this by creatively telling stories, and you can get reactions by the emotional stories you tell. And I really feel like he sat there and he pops in ECW tapes and he sits there with the crew back there and goes, yeah, this would be great. I need you to take a psychology class, bro. I need you to take some creative writing. I need you to take some acting classes. I need you to please stop with the ECW crew and the producers and go find, you don't have to have a whole crew of them, but one television writer, one psychologist, one booker from the old days, and get after it. I mean, literally, like, listen, I know he's a cheap plug, but Bully Ray on the radio has been saying, let me book this shit.
Dude.
He would go out there, and you don't got to tell everybody you did it. Just go out there, slip him $100,000 and say, how the hell do I run this? Make him a consultant. And he would run it perfectly. You would have the right mix of hardcore at the right time where it would build up to it in like once a year. Like, this guy's doing it so much. It's like Darby Allin flipped off the ladder with a lightsaber and he hit the guy in the head. And then 2 weeks later, oh, look at Darby Allin. He lit this guy on fire. And then another week later, oh, look at Darby Allin. He smashed the guy in the coffin and burned it and threw it in the ocean. It's like you just, the more you do it, it has no impact. Like, we're just going, oh, all right. And that's just the way it's done. It needs to be done for effect, for reasons. That's why when Mick Foley threw out the text, it was so impactful because we never freaking see it. Like, you got to say, we're banning this. And you tell Darby Allin, hey, it's a simple story. Darby, you are too rugged. You're going to get me kicked off the network. It's an easy story. Stop it. You're going to get us off this airwaves, and we're going to lose millions of dollars. And you got Darby saying, no, I'm rugged. And then you say, you're going to be fined and suspended. And then, like, months and months go by, and he's, like, clamoring and itching for it. And then, boom, he throws out the thumbtacks, in February. Like, come on, dude. Like, you got to give some people some time to recover from these hardcore matches that you had. You just had 6 hours of pay-per-view where 3 of the matches were crazy wild. Like, you got to tone it down. And in the absence of story, this is what you do, is violence. And listen, it may be great for the 20-year-old that's paying $20, but for a lot of fans that have money, and for me and Adam and a lot of wrestling fans, dude, we're way over the ECW shit.
Yeah, it just, like I said, at a certain point, wrestling has evolved. And like you said, I feel like Bully Ray has such a fantastic mind for wrestling. And he understands the emotion, and he understands the psychology of a spot. You don't need to run the same spots or high spots over and over and over again. You do it 6 times in a match. By the time you're doing it for the 4th and 5th time, it's lost its effect. You give it to him once, and it makes it that much more important. And I just feel like the mentality that you get from AEW, it's just high spot central, and I just feel like it's short-term booking and, like you said, matchmaking. It's not. There are things that are long-term booked. I'm not saying that they don't do that, but I feel like on a weekend, week out basis, everything is very, very turn and burn, and it is frustrating to me. And I don't understand what we're doing with this match. Like I said, if there was a stipulation for fire in the match, like if we were doing like a flaming ring, cool, I get it. It kind of makes sense, but unless we're having a burned alive match, I don't understand why we have so much fire. I don't understand why the flamethrower. I don't know why we have the Molotov cocktail. I just don't get it. So, what was your show of the week this week?
I thought that, Raw was really special. I thought that it had a really lot of good things to pay attention to. If you don't get a chance, if you only have a couple hours, check out what NXT did. Showdown was really good and fun, and you get a chance to see the Hardys do their thing. But at the same token, I think Monday Night Raw did a real good job to get you excited for what's to come this weekend.
Yeah, I agree with you. Monday Night Raw. Would you like some news and notes before we get out of here this week?
Hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes. What made your list?
This WWE star was a free agent, but now is back with the company. Earlier this week, it was reported that the contract of WWE SmackDown star Santos Escobar was set to expire soon amid his ongoing absence from the show. In an update on Santos' status, with the company from PW Insider, Santos' contract with WWE was set to expire as of midnight on Monday night, with him set to depart the company and become a free agent. PW Insider noted that WWE had made overtures to keep Escobar under contract, which included a higher contract offer, but at that point, he had turned down the offer. Now, per Mike Johnson of PW Insider, Santos Escobar is now back with the company, and him and WWE have come to terms on a new deal. It's believed the two sides came to a new agreement as of Tuesday, after his contract had expired and he had been moved to the alumni page of WWE. Per the report, WWE management considered Escobar's creative concerns, with Escobar reportedly receiving a sizably larger offer than during any of the previous overtures. It was at this point that Escobar reportedly agreed to terms. So money talks, apparently. While Santos may not be coming or going, this WWE star is definitely sticking around. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Monday Night Raw star Xavier Woods is signing a new multi-year deal with WWE, extending his stay in the company beyond the 15-year mark. Woods signed with WWE in 2010 and has since become one of the most decorated tag team performers in the company's history, winning 11 tag team championships across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT as part of the New Day alongside Kofi Kingston and Big E. Now, John Cena's final opponent may be selected. Cena's final match will take place in Washington, D.C. on December 13th at Saturday night's main event, with the speculation surrounding who will be his final opponent. That may be up. We may have figured it out. In an update from Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer, WWE may have now chosen Cena's final opponent for Saturday night's main event. Cena will reportedly face off against Gunther on the show, with a number of WWE sources confirming to Meltzer that Cena vs. Gunther is listed internally for the show, with that being the only match listed so far. Two sources also confirmed to Meltzer that the latest plan is for a tournament to be announced, potentially on air by Triple H, with the number of top names vying to be Cena's final opponent. With that said, sources told Meltzer that Gunther was the person chosen for the match. However, the tournament may reach its conclusion. These former WWE champs are WWE champs again. The Hardy Boys officially captured their first WWE Championship titles in 6 years at Tuesday night's WWE NXT Showdown. The first ever WWE NXT vs. TNA Showdown event took place with 4 matches pitting WWE NXT stars against TNA wrestling stars. One of those matches was for title versus title, pitting the NXT Tag Team Champions Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin of Dark State against TNA World Tag Team Champions Matt and Jeff Hardy. The winning team would leave the show as both the NXT and TNA Tag Team Champs. And for the first time in the partnership between the promotion, WWE titles have now been captured by a TNA wrestler or wrestlers. The Hardy Boys would score the victory in the match, ending Dark State's reign as champion and winning their first WWE Championship since 2019 when they became the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Matt and Jeff are set to defend both the TNA World Tag Team Championships and the NXT Tag Team Championships against the Dudley Boys at TNA's Bound for Glory this Sunday in a tables match. being dubbed the last real tag match. And this AEW star was stretchered out of Collision. The Saturday, October 11th episode of AEW Collision was pre-taped on Wednesday night at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, with one of the advertised matches for the show pitting Don Callis' family's Josh Alexander against Kota Ibushi. According to those in attendance at the taping, during the match, Ibushi suffered a fall from the turnbuckle to the outside that resulted in the Japanese star receiving medical attention. A captured video posted to Twitter showed Ibushi being stretchered out of Daly's Place, with Tony Khan later addressing the crowd after the incident, thanking them for being respectful following the injury and leading an Ibushi chant. According to PW Insider, the word backstage is that he suffered a broken femur. At this time of reporting and writing, there's no official announcement that's been made on Ibushi's injury. So if it's a broken femur, he's going to be out for a long time, at least 6 to maybe 10 weeks. So we'll see what happens with Ibushi when he comes back. But that's going to do it for this week's wrestling news and notes.
Make sure you follow Adam on X at AdamRSTROZ. Follow us at Detroit Podcast. If you're going to get up early, drink some coffee, watch some golf, or watch some news. Also, pay attention to what's going on in the world of wrestling. Hit us up. We'll be watching. We'll be paying attention a little bit. We'll be checking it out. And if you are in the zany world of the internet, I don't know. I've been sending Adam and Kenny. Kenny might have blocked me, but there's this dude, this foreign dude, that is just really having himself a time with AI. And if you're crazy and go down the rabbit hole, you can see Malcolm X in the Royal Rumble. You can see the likes of Jeffrey Epstein debuting in WCW. You can see Queen Elizabeth fall off the cage. It is hilarious. It is funny to me. And the one that got me, obviously Stephen Hawking is funny, but the dude had Osama bin Laden making his WWE debut with a plane. So I've been laughing. I've been having a good time. Go find it. It's very, very funny. And this is how you do AI properly. And we'll find out who's next. We've been seeing a lot of historical characters, and it's very entertaining. They're 10 seconds long. You will laugh. Queen Elizabeth, the Princess Diana, MLK turning heel was hilarious. Washington versus Abe Lincoln. Check it out. Have a good time. And if you think it's crazy, fine. But it's very, very funny in my humble opinion. Again, follow us at Detroit Podcast. Anywhere that you enjoy your favorite audio content, type in Detroit Sports Podcast, and our content will find you. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for listening. Always enjoy producing and talking about the world of professional wrestling. Hey, if you're listening to this on Saturday or Friday night when this drops and you went to NXT, let us know how the show went. You're going to get, I believe, Ricky Saints against Obi, I think. You're going to have some great matches. And you're going to have the Motor City Machine Guns there. You're going to have, Tommaso Ciampa and DIY. So it'll be a fun time to see how the next generation gets after it, as well as a mix of local stars as well. Again, cuz, great work. Love talking about the world of professional wrestling. I can't wait to break it all down next week on the next episode of the Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast.